So this is on assignment number 16.1, the beginning of your business card stuff. This is the basic layout that I want you to use for the business card assignment. But first we will engage in some InDesign basics to get you started. If you have never opened InDesign before, it will seem a lot like Illustrator. Many of the commands and the things that you need to do will seem very familiar. So locate the InDesign app from your app panel and open InDesign. So far, things will look something like this, but on your end, things won't show past projects coming up. I'm going to be showing you how things look from my end. Your mileage may differ, and you might not default to an open project like I have. First, let's go to File, New Document, so I can show you around. First thing is that you're going to want to change is the window on the far right, just below where it currently says Untitled 1, the one where it reads picas. Well, you're going to change that to inches. If you click to open the window, it'll show you a pull down and you should select inches. My orientation is set to landscape and yours may default to portrait. You can leave it wherever it is right now unless you want yours to open exactly like mine, in which case set it to landscape, right hand icon highlighted blue here. When it opens, it'll look like this, a blank document. The red rule lines around the edges are what's called the bleed. This is generally a place that you want to avoid with critical information, but we often put things like page numbers and things in there. More on that later. You will also notice that my layers palette has opened up. We'll talk about that more later as well. What you should do is to make sure that you're set up in Essentials mode. In my view here, I'm not set in that mode. This is because I've been working on other projects inside of InDesign. If you never have used the app before, yours will look considerably different. If you look to the upper right hand edge very near the corner, you will see that I am in typography mode. If you pull down that arrow, you can set it back to Essential. Here I have done that so that hopefully my screen now looks like yours. Along the right side of the screen you can see the Properties panel. Embedded in it are things like the Pages panel and the Libraries. As you begin working in InDesign, you can often open these up and drag them out of the workspace to various places, like this. If your work surface gets cluttered and you forget how to redock everything, all you need to do is to go to Windows, Workspace, Reset Essentials, and everything will return to normal. Now, I want you to go to File, Close. It will ask you if you want to save the changes. Click on No. And you'll return to the main window. Now we're going to set up our business card and go through adding your logo. I'm going to show you how I did this using a black front and a white back. You, of course, will have a much different criteria based on the design of your logo. So, for the most part, this is simply a demonstration of how to do things, not necessarily a step-by-step layout for your business card. So again, go to File, New Document. But this time, when it opens, select Print from the menu at the top and notice where it says View All Formats. Click on that. That will expand the options at the bottom of the panel. You want to choose US Business Card, but don't leave this window just yet. On the right side of the menu are some options and we'll need to take care of those. Again, change picas to inches and you should see that the width will change from 3.5 inches to a height of 2 inches. Make sure that you click or unclick the Facing Pages box. Also set the number of pages to 2. Not done yet. On the far right of this menu is a slider. Pull that down to expose your margins and your bleed. Set your margins to 0.25 inches and all the linked changes in the window, and it'll change all of them at the same time. Now change the bleed to 0.125 inches, and again, being linked, they will all change. Now click Create. And your screen should now look like this. This is the layout for the standard 2 by 3.5 inch business card. If you use your magnification tool and hold down the Alt Option key, you can zoom out. and see that you have two selections. The top is the front of the card and the bottom is the back. You're ready to start. Now here's where things may differ from what you have and what I have, so just watch this. My logo is set in a black background field. The logo that I created in Illustrator was black lines on a white background. For the business card purpose, I reversed that. Makes sense. White crow should be a white bird on a black field. That's pretty easy to do in Illustrator. However, I want my business card to have a black background on the front. So I will go to my stroke and fill panel, see, just like Illustrator, and we'll want to set both of them to black. So I click on the fill panel, which opens my color picker, just like Illustrator. Now you may notice that the color picker looks less vibrant, less colors. This is because the primary function of InDesign is to print, and print color is CMYK mode and relies on overprinting of one color on top of another to achieve greater color results. More on this in another video. Here I want to set mine to pure black, or as we all know by now, a hexadecimal code of 6 zeros. Now if I go to my tool panel, I find a rectangle tool just like the one that existed in Illustrator, and I will drag open a rectangle around my business card frame, and it will turn black. If I zoom out again, I will see that the front of my business card is black and the back is still set to white. I will return to the front. Now I have to lock this up. To do this, I will need to find my Layers panel and go up to Windows, Layers, and your Layers panel will pop up. You can move it and dock it over at the far right to get it out of your way so that you see the whole layout again. Now I'll click on Layer 1 and open it, and I will name it Background and then check the Lock Layer box. I don't want to work on this layer any longer. Now I'm going to add my logo. Just like with Illustrator and Photoshop, if I click on the layer icon at the lower right corner of my Layers panel, I can open a new layer. I will name this layer Logo and then click OK. Now I will need to go and find a copy of my logo to add to my layout. Just like with Illustrator, the command is File, Place. A Place dialog box will appear asking you where you want to select the logo from. In your case, it'll probably be in your peripheral drive located in your personal logo assignment folder from the Illustrator portion of this class, the last assignment that you worked on. Like mine, yours is probably an Illustrator file, which is fine. InDesign can utilize Illustrator or Photoshop files. However, the preference is Illustrator due to the graphic quality. So I click on the Illustrator file, and I get this little logo icon which follows my cursor around the screen, just like in Illustrator. It won't place until I click it. Here I've clicked it. Where did it go? Well, it's there. It's just really, really big. That black thing that I can see is just the corner of the file. By holding down my Shift plus my Command plus my Alt-Option key, you need all those keys to control and constrain an object in InDesign, I can eventually reduce it and drag it into view. Dependent on the size of my file, this can take a little time. Now I sort of have it where I want it, but notice something? Why is the background of the graphic not the same color as my background layer? That has to do with the way that InDesign transfers and opens images. In order to save screen real estate and computer functions, it opens the image in a lower resolution, but you can adjust this. That has to do with the way InDesign transfers and opens images. In order to save real estate and computer functions, it opens the image to a lower resolution, but you can adjust this. Just go to Object, Display Performance, High Quality Display, and the image will change to exactly the same background quality. Dependent on your computer capabilities, this may slow things down a bit though. Now, if you want to get a look at what it will print out like without all of the bounding boxes and bleed lines, just hit W on your keyboard, which will revert you to the display mode. This is what it looks like outside InDesign. If you hit W again, it will take you back into the open InDesign document, like this. What I want you to do now is to save your business card to this point. Save it to your peripheral drive as business_card_part_1. The file extension will show up as a .indd, which is an InDesign native format. Using the W command, put it into preview mode, and using your basic Mac commands, take a screenshot of where you are at this point of placing your logo onto your business card and then submit that to Canvas as business card part 1. If you're using a PC, you can do the same thing by taking a screenshot using the key at the far upper right hand corner of your keyboard and then dumping that into Photoshop and saving as a JPEG. Or you can use the snippet tool and take a screenshot that way as well, which will create a JPEG or a PNG, I can't remember which, and place it onto your desktop as capture. And you can rename capture, capture 1, capture 2, or you can save it and give it a better description than that. All for now. More in the next video.